Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a clip of someone getting upset that they had to buy an extra seat on Southwest Airlines when they couldn't fit into one seat. I just covered a story like this the other day. No, this is not a repeat. Apparently, Southwest is making anyone who doesn't fit into one seat buy a second one, so we're going to be seeing a lot more of these stories moving forward. Southwest used to give a free extra seat to anyone that didn't fit into one seat. It was called their customer of size policy. Now that they've gotten rid of that policy and people actually have to pay for that second seat, many people are upset. Before we proceed, please click the like button so that I may apply comb to mustache.
All right, story time. So, I was going down to LA for my 40th birthday, and it was just going to be my closest girlfriends, sisters actually, coming together to celebrate my day. And I just had to tell you kind of exactly what happened with me in Southwest. I was sitting, and my brother-in-law was actually flying with me down.
By the way, do you guys dislike the fact that I'm mirrored right now? Some people said they didn't like it. I can put it to where I'm not mirrored and then just put her on this side of the screen so it looks like I'm looking at her or whatever.
Back home, our pit stop was going to be in Sacramento. And I'm flying from Portland, pit stop Sacramento, to go down to LA. And as my brother-in-law and I were sitting at the gate, like sitting next to each other, this tiny little Southwest agent lady came up to me and said...
She was tiny?
Like in front of everyone. Mind you, in front of everyone. Like, and said, "Are you comfortable on the seat, on the plane?" And I said, excuse me, what? Are you talking to me? And she's like, "Yeah, are you comfortable on the plane?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And I'm like, "I fly Southwest all the time." And then she said, are you here with yourself?" And I'm like, "No, it's me and my brother here." And she's like, "Well, are you comfortable on the seat?" And I looked at her and I'm like,
okay, is that their subtle way of saying that you are not fitting into one seat? Is that what they're implying here? Also, why did we mention that the Southwest employee was tiny? I already know all of your personal issues just by that language that you used right there. It's interesting that you referred to this person that worked for Southwest as tiny, and then you're about to go on to complain that they stereotyped you or assumed something about you because of your body size. That's funny.
"Yeah, you've already asked me that." And I said, "Yes." At this time, the folks around me are looking at me. Their jaws are like kind of on the floor, kind of like, "Are you?" And in my head, I'm like, oh my goodness, she is looking at me and basically saying, "You're fat." And
okay, this is a weird way for Southwest to handle this situation. They have one of their employees come up to you and they're like, "Are you comfortable?" And then you're like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then they're like, "Are you sure? Are you sure you're really comfortable? Because you don't look comfortable. And in fact, nobody around you looks comfortable. Can you just ask me the question straight up? Like, do you think I wouldn't fit into the seat? Is that what this is? What is this weird game of, are you sure you're comfortable? Are you sure? What are we doing? Can we be a little more direct?
I'm like, is this really happening right now? Like, I'm about to start my trip to celebrate my 40th birthday, and you are seriously not gonna make this subjective, look at me and be so subjective, right?
What?
And she goes, and she realized everybody's looking at her, and then she said, "Can you come to the counter?" And I'm like, I would have appreciated if that was her case, if she had said, "Hey, can you go to the counter? I want to talk with you."
I agree. If she had something to say to you about fitting in the seats or any sort of stuff like that, anything that could be personal or potentially embarrassing, she definitely should have called you to the counter first. She's yelling across the lobby like, "Hey, are you sure you're comfortable in those seats? Hey, let's bring some other people into this. Hey, you guys, do you think she would be comfortable in those seats?" Yeah, could you have just called me up to the counter? I'm going to have to agree with her on this. This doesn't need to be the whole airport's business.
But for her to call me out in front of everyone that was sitting around, like, I was embarrassed.
Yeah, that's not chill. Whether you do or do not fit into the seat, we don't need to involve the entire airport.
But most importantly, I was angry and frustrated. Like, what the. And as we went to the counter, she said, are you comfortable on the plane? I'm like, excuse me, miss. I'm like,
why do we keep wording it like that? Are you comfortable? That's how you guys word it? In the last story I covered about somebody not fitting into a plane, they did not word it that way. They were just like, we don't think you'll fit into one seat. You're gonna have to buy an extra one. Is that better? Or this weird little game of asking somebody repeatedly if they're comfortable? Are you sure you're comfortable? You don't look comfortable. Like,
ma'am, you've asked me that 2 times already, and I've already said I'm comfortable. And she said, well, I just want to let you know, the customer of size policy is going to be in effect in 3 days, actually 4 days. And, a person of your size is going to probably need to buy a second seat. And I'm like,
Oh yeah, for those that don't know, Southwest recently changed their customer of size policy. I briefly mentioned it in the beginning. Effective January 27th, 2026, Southwest Airlines is updating its customer of size policy to require passengers who cannot sit comfortably within one seat, armrests down, to pre-purchase an extra seat. Unlike the previous policy, a refund is no longer guaranteed, as the extra seat fee is only refunded if the flight is not sold out. So if the flight is not full, and also if one of those empty seats happens to be in your same fare class, they will reimburse you.
I'm like, all right, so that's in 4 days. That's not today. And I'm like, and I don't have an issue. And did someone complain? Like, we're literally sitting outside the gate. I'm here 2 hours early for my flight. So I'm just sitting, watching a show on my phone, listening to my earbuds. And I'm like, and you're here just going around looking at people and calling them fat, basically.
Well, if they think that you won't fit into one seat, they're not trying to fat shame you or anything like that. This is for the safety and comfort of you and everyone else around you. As we learned in that last video that I made, where those Southwest employees kept saying that to that one guy. They're like, this is for your safety and comfort. They just kept saying it. It's definitely embarrassing to hear from an employee that we have to buy a second seat, and they definitely could have done it better than yelling across the room, hey, are you sure you're comfortable? But the fact remains that we will have to buy a second seat if we don't fit into one. It would ruin the comfort of everyone around us and also be unsafe for us to spill into an adjacent seat.
And she goes, well, a person of your size. I'm like, I get that, but your policy is not in effect yet. And so, and when it is in effect, are you going to be looking at me and judging people like me?
Actually, when it goes into effect, they will just be reimbursing people less, as I read just a moment ago.
And so I was pissed. And she goes, well, let me check if your flight is full, because the person of your size is going to need to buy a second seat.
All right, so you were pissed that you had to pay for a seat that you would likely need.
She goes, she looks in her computer. She goes, oh, you're lucky. You're lucky. Okay. You're lucky. There are still extra seats, so you're going to be fine on the flight to Sacramento. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to LA. And she goes, oh, well, let me check. She looks into the flight from Sacramento to LA. She goes, okay, that one looks like it's not full too, so you're going to be fine. I'm like, okay.
Right, so she's telling you that we will reimburse you for that extra seat that you bought. You seem to have a pretty bad attitude about it. You're not very thankful about that.
And I'm like, wow. And
yeah, see? Wow, you guys are going to give me a free extra seat? Just when you think you know a company. They go and do something like this. Why are you saying that like it's bad? They don't have to give you a free extra anything.
Embarrassed. Everyone's looking at me. Everyone's like in shock that happened.
Right, you seem to be more caught up on what everybody else thinks of this situation instead of the deeper implications of the situation. Like, I can't fit into this seat. I don't need to worry about that at all. What really matters is that all these people heard that and they saw you talking to me about that. Like,
I'm embarrassed to the T, and I'm like pissed because this is not how I'm going to start my birthday. We get to Sacramento, and my brother-in-law then is like, my family's from Sacramento, and so he goes away, and I'm like, bye, as I finish my second leg.
and so you were like, bye.
I think to myself, now I'm completely like insecure. Let me go check. So then I go to the counter and I said, hey, FYI, I flew from Portland. This is my pit stop, about to enter my second leg. They told me the policy of customer size. I just wanted to check, am I going to be okay? The folks at the counter are pissed. They're like, why? You already came one leg. Like, we don't know if we could do it. I'm like, I don't care. And I'm like, I just want to know.
What? They were angry because they don't know if they have an extra seat for you or something?
In your system, am I going to be okay? Because you're not going to rebook me because my girls and I have plans, okay? They look, they're like, oh, there's folks on standby that are wanting to get seats to go down to LA. And the lady's like, I got to call my supervisor because you've already take your first leg. I don't know if I can. She goes, calls her supervisor. They give me the whole policy spiel again. I said, I get that, but that policy is in 3-4 days. Not today.
That policy is just about reimbursing you for the cost of the seat, not about people taking up extra seats in general. If you need an extra seat, you need an extra seat regardless of that policy. It just has to do with whether or not they will reimburse you. So before this policy existed, they wouldn't let you just go on there and start spilling into somebody else's seat. That wasn't the old policy.
3-4 days. And so what then happens is they're like, they are able to give me an extra seat. And here's the thing. When you get that extra seat, you get this extra ticket. I call it the fat pass because literally it literally is calling you fat.
You're mad at the seat. You call it the fat pass. I think we are misdirecting a lot of our emotions in this whole entire thing.
Because you get this pass that says extra seat, right? You then board with the first group of people that goes because you're fat. And they need to make sure there's another seat. And this was right before assigned seats fits you. And I go in, I have to put my fat pass in this seat. So when people come by, I have to say, oh, it's taken. And so people can walk by. If not, they're like, can I sit there? I'm like, no, you can't. This is all before the assigned seats now, so things have changed.
Yeah, that was nice of them to give you a free extra seat. And a little place card or whatever the hell to put on the seat to let people know they can't sit there. That was very nice of Southwest to do. I'm also very thankful. Oh, you're not. Okay.
But my issue with everything is, one, we are already insecure as, the bigger, plumpier, more beautiful women.
You're insecure as bigger, plumpier, more beautiful women. Yeah, being more beautiful definitely makes you more insecure.
In this sense, and we're big, we're bold, we're fine, we're happy with the way we are. But what is your process to choose people and say, oh, you're not going to fit in your seat?
If you don't fit between the two armrests, then they will tell you you're not going to fit in your seat. It might embarrass us, but it is what it is. If you don't like to be embarrassed and told that you don't fit into your seat, you have a couple of options. You can buy an extra seat and just deal with it, or we can do whatever it is that people do to make themselves fit into a seat. I believe there are several things that people have done in the past to augment their body size to make them fit into a seat. A lot of people lose weight not only to fit into a seat, but to be more mobile in general and to have a higher quality of life in general. I'm not saying you should.
This dude that sat because I sat by the window, so the aisle seat was open, so I put my fat pass there. But a gentleman came and sat, this Italian man came and sat that was, muscular, came and sat in the aisle seat. He was like, what's this? And I kind of told him the situation, and he was like, what in the world? He's like, how can they just that's so subjective. How can they just do that? He's like, that's insane. He's like,
what? So he just started parroting all the stuff that you just said a minute ago. He's like, what? That's so subjective. What, as in you not fitting into the seat is subjective? That's just somebody's opinion. You might actually fit it. I don't understand.
He's like, your stature is way smaller than me. I'm big. I'm like, they said to me.
This happened. Okay.
That my arm goes over and encroaches on the person next to me.
Okay, why is this story getting less and less believable? I don't want to not believe you. Why is it getting less believable? I don't think I've ever heard of anybody having to purchase an extra seat because their arm went over the armrest. That doesn't even make any sense. All of our arms sit on the armrest. Are you sure it was your arms that were going over the armrests?
Then there's no way There's no way I would be able to fly. They would have to rebook me or I would have to pay an extra seat. And I said, even with my brother-in-law don't mind if I, spilled over, but when I was going to LA, when there was that extra
That's not even spilling over. If your arm goes over the armrest, like, we all battle over armrests on airplanes to begin with. And there are supposed to be certain rules. I believe the middle person gets the armrests because that's the crappiest seat or something like that. They at least get those two middle ones that their arms go on. So the term spilling over doesn't have to do with armrest space or armrest battles with other passengers. Spilling over is when other parts of our body cannot remain in one seat. Parts of me just won't stop going over into this other seat.
Fat pass in the middle of the seat. The gentle Italian man was like, my arms are past the arm, like the armrest. So what are they gonna do with men like me? Like, am I gonna have to buy, a second seat? And I'm like,
and then everybody clapped and agreed with you. And they're like, you know what? She's right, actually. It was at this point that everyone on the airplane stood up and started clapping. She's right. She's right. He's right. His large arms can barely even fit into that seat. What are they doing to her? How could they do this to you, madam? And then they all started clapping. We all stood up. She's right. She's right. She's right. You all know it, goddammit. You just don't have the balls to admit it. And then the pilot came out and he's like, I heard what you said back there. You are the real hero. You know what? Come up here. I want you to fly the plane. Get up here. And then he kicked everybody else off the plane. They opened up the back door and just threw everybody out right into the Atlantic. We weren't even over the Atlantic. We were going to California, but whatever, shut up. And then she landed the plane while the song Freebird played in the background.
great question, because homeboy, your arm is completely past the armrest as well.
Well, I mean, having your arms a little over the armrest isn't the same as your body spilling over into somebody else's seat.
And if they're saying if you go past the armrest, you gotta buy a second seat, they better not just be looking at fat people, because they better be looking at these big muscular men that has arms that's way bigger than my thighs.
Anybody who doesn't fit into one seat will have to buy a second seat. I'm guessing that's not very often muscular people, but sometimes somebody is so dang buff that they just can't fit into one seat. But a lot of the time, buff people can fit perfectly into a seat just fine. They're not excessively wide. They just have a little bit of a wide shoulder going on right there, you know? But the rest of their body is not typically too wide to fit into a seat. Their waist is typically not too wide to fit into a seat. And I think that's where the major problem lies. If my elbow is coming over this way a little bit, that's not crazy noticeable. But if my entire right side of my body cannot fit into this seat and it's over here on you, you would probably notice that.
That's past armrest. So I was freaking pissed.
You were pissed that they gave you that free extra seat, and then you had to explain to this dude what it was about.
My flight. I was not going to let that ruin my freaking birthday weekend, though. So as soon as I got on, give me a drink, had a drink, and maybe they didn't do, because they didn't charge me for the drink. I ended up getting some free drinks on Southwest on the way there, but I was pissed.
I still don't understand why you're pissed. They gave you a free extra seat, and then they gave you a little placard or whatever to set on the seat, a little sign or something to let other people know that they cannot sit there. Why are you angry at that? You should have not given me a free extra seat, and then I should have just spilled over into the person next to me.
And now I'm seeing everybody kind of post their situation, kind of similar to mine. Mine was before there was assigned seats, like 3-4 days before. And so, people still got to choose where they sit. But now, I don't know. I got a couple more flights coming up. I only fly Southwest. I have a Southwest credit card. I've been loyal. And for them to do this.
Okay, so you're flying all the time, like other people that I've covered before. I'm the only one that's not going anywhere or doing anything, apparently.
Pissed. So I'm working on my email to send to them, but what is their process? My question is, what is their process of selecting? It's not of telling people that they need a second seat. They're literally just looking at people and deciding.
How else can you determine if somebody will not fit into one seat? I know that it doesn't make us feel good to have somebody look at us, but there is literally no other way. Like I said in that last video, what are they supposed to do? Close their eyes and feel you? Like, yeah, that's far less invasive. I am getting sick of being judged by people looking at my body. Close your eyes and touch me. That's the proper way. Close your eyes and feel me. This is far less problematic, and this will lead to far less lawsuits. We're gonna have a bunch of lonely people going to Southwest just to get some human interaction. You know what I mean? I don't know if I can fit in the seat. You guys might want to check. You've been in here several times this week. We're not falling for that again. We are not touching you anymore.
And so, like, that doesn't make any sense, you know? And what if you come with family? You know, what if I'm a mother with my young child and...
If you don't fit into one seat, you will have to have a second seat. All of these what if questions can all be answered with that same answer. What if this? You'll have to buy a second seat if you don't fit into one. What about all this other stuff? You'll have to buy a second seat if you don't fit into one. All roads lead to, if you don't fit into one, you'll have to buy a second. It's really not rocket surgery. It's not that difficult to wrap our brain around. I don't understand where the confusion is coming from.
I can't spill over to my young child. What are you gonna do? What if you're a man with big, huge arms?
I don't think that there are too many dudes that are so buff that they can't fit into one seat.
Like, are they gonna have to buy a second seat? I don't know.
If they don't fit into one, then yes.
All I know is I was pissed. Wasn't gonna let it mess up my birthday, and so I enjoyed my birthday on my flight back because they gave me a courtesy seat there from Sacramento to LA. They gave me courtesy seats back home as well too.
Okay, so they've given you a lot of free stuff, and you're still upset.
But I'm like, I got a couple of Southwest trips lined up already. They better not.
Okay, so you're still flying Southwest.
They better not say anything because...
You're probably marked in the system now, honestly. Every single time you go to get on a Southwest flight now, they're probably going to make you buy an extra seat. Or at least there's some kind of note in there that you needed one in the past. I'm guessing that's how it works.
Here's the thing. This is the only issue I had at the Portland gate. No one came and asked me anything or said anything to me at the Sacramento gate. I was scared, I was embarrassed, and I went to the Sacramento gate and asked. And no one said anything to me at the LAX gate.
Right. It's a very uncomfortable job to be the person that has to go up to somebody and tell them that they need to buy an extra seat. I bet all of the employees at Southwest hate that job the most. They probably flip a coin like, all right, you're going to have to go talk to this person. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. All right, I'll take heads. You take tails. If it's tails, you go talk to her. And we flip a coin. Sorry, Mark. It's going to be you, bro.
And so I just want to know, Southwest, what is your process before a person even is on the plane to say they can't fit or they will spill on others? Like, it's so subjective. Tell me your process. I need to know.
Okay, well, I'm guessing the Southwest process for determining if you'll need an extra seat goes a little bit like this. I think you might need an extra seat. I know that we don't want to hear that or see that. I know that that hurts our feelings, but there's no other way. Like I said, what else are they supposed to do? Close their eyes and just feel you? And I'm guessing that Southwest has got a lot of complaints about people spilling into other seats and stuff lately, which is why they're implementing these changes. Also, they were losing a lot of money. We can't just go around giving out free extra seats to people because they don't fit into one. Since they were known for doing that, all of the people that couldn't fit into one seat all flocked to Southwest to take advantage of that policy, which obviously cost the company a lot of money, and they had to do away with the policy. They will still reimburse you for that extra seat if the flight is not full and there's an empty seat in your same fare class, which I think is very nice. She seems to be upset with the idea that she needed a second seat in general. That's what really got her angry, and she was embarrassed that she had a little placard or a sign or whatever to sit there next to her. So you would prefer that they just let you go into the seat and spill over into whoever is next to you. Don't embarrass me. Let me inconvenience everybody else around me so I don't get embarrassed. Okay, but what about their safety and comfort? If that first situation did happen like that, where the employee was like, "Are you sure you're comfortable? Are you sure you're comfortable?" in front of all those other people, that's not cool. They should have brought you over to the counter and then talked about the situation privately. But other than that, getting a free extra seat shouldn't make us mad. I think this person had a lot of misdirected anger, but what do you think? Leave a comment below. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Anyway, that about does it. Thanks for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.